Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Late Thursday afternoon, Kirby Smart, the Georgia Bulldogs land. Just a fascinating commitment in the 2025 class, coming from three-star wide receiver Landon Roldan from the state of Georgia. And why I personally am so fascinated with this commitment is this was a cat that, kind of flew under the radar during his junior year. He ends up camping with Georgia in late May. The reports are that he ran a 4.37 40-yard dash. The Georgia staff ends up inviting him back for a private workout. They like what they see. They offer him on the spot, get him on an official visit late in June, and end up wrapping up this commitment late June. And we're not going to make the player comp to Ladd McConkey because I do think there are some similarities in their games, but it's a very similar storyline to how Ladd McConkey ended up with Georgia, kind of a late bloomer that Georgia identified as kind of just a hidden gem in their backyard. They bring him on campus, and we all know the story with Ladd McConkey, emerges as one of the best wide receivers, not only in the SEC, but in the country. And if you're a Georgia fan, you're kind of hoping for a similar storyline with the guy in Landon Roldan. And the fact that this Georgia staff did a very similar thing with a wide receiver like Ladd McConkey gives a lot of Georgia Bulldog fans that a lot of confidence that this kid could kind of be a diamond in the rough for this Georgia program in the 2025 class. And I kind of will start with this. Landon Roldan was not necessarily on my radar 2 weeks ago, but I read the reports from the camp. I read the reports, the private workout and the offer. I dive into the film and just kind of say this kid's a box checker, right? I mean, he caught for over 1,000 yards during his junior year, obviously has some big time straight line speed. And you dive into the film and say, a lot of boxes checked, right? A nice frame at 6 foot 180. He runs a 4.37 in the 40-yard dash. He's able to track the ball vertically downfield exceptionally well. I think that has a lot to do with the baseball background. I'm a big fan of this land, and I cannot wait to see what this kid looks like year one, year two, year three with this Georgia program. Before we get into the film, just want to say thank you to you guys, to the Georgia Bulldog fans. Been a blast talking this program over the last couple of weeks. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. And without further ado, let's get into Landon Roldan in a very similar conversation that we've had with these Georgia wide receivers committing in the 2025 class. I kind of find myself saying the exact same thing for a guy like Landon Roldan. This is a guy that can win vertically down the field. This is obviously something that Kirby Smart has. It's been a priority in terms of the personnel they're bringing in at the wide receiver position, not only in the high school recruiting classes, but what we saw them do in the transfer portal, bringing in guys like London Humphreys and Colby Young, guys that can attack the deeper third at a high level. Landon Roldan's a guy that can certainly do that, but you dive into the film and say, all right, he can attack the deeper third really, really well. Obviously has good long speed, a nice frame, can track the ball exceptionally well. This is also a guy that can create some separation and operate after the catch. I mean, there's so many different ways you can get Landon Roldan involved in this offense. He's a phenomenal special teamer as well. This one makes a lot of sense and is kind of in line in terms of what the kind of wide receivers Georgia has been looking for in this 2025 cycle. You dive into the film and say, yeah, we're checking a lot of boxes, man. And the first rep you see, yards after the catch. I mean, just get this kid the football in space. Good things are going to happen, and it's not really only the straight line speed. It's the feel in which he has the ball. I mean, this is a guy that when he has the football in space, I mean, a really good feel for making people miss, navigating traffic, setting up his blocks. He plays really fast from a mental standpoint, can track the ball down the field exceptionally well, and he's physical at the catch point, right? You have a safety over top here coming over. We're going to fight through contact, and go make a play. A lot of different ways you can get this cat involved in the offense. You see him playing the boundary. You see him playing the slot. Again, a guy that vertically down the field just tracks the football over the shoulder exceptionally well, makes those kind of plays just look easy. I think it has a lot to do with his baseball background, probably playing an outfielder role in terms of tracking that ball, because you turn on the film and say, this kid, when the football is in the air, just knows how to track it. I am a really big fan of this one. You get him in the boundary. You can put him in the slot, do a lot of different things with him. He can operate after the catch really well, fights through contact, and most of all, he's a high effort guy. And you take a look at some of the other reps on the film, he blocks down the field well. That's something you want to see. I'm really intrigued with this get. You take a look at Georgia in the 2025 class and say we are starting to fill it up, and Georgia might be adding another commitment later tonight from four-star cornerback Chris Ewald from the state of Florida. This is another guy that, might not have the physical traits that a cornerback like Keely Ringo or Ellis Robinson had coming out of high school. But what you love about Chris Ewald is he's a pro's pro. This is a guy that's played at a high level of high school football for a very long time, matched up at high school with guys like Jeremiah Smith and JoJo Trader. I like Chris Ewald a lot. If he does commit to Georgia, we'll break down the film later tonight. But Landon Roldan, a very, very exciting commitment for this Georgia program. We'll cut it there. Appreciate you guys rocking with it again. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys. We'll talk to y'all later. Peace.